Okay, so excellent. So we can get started. So, so your first task will be to convert an implementation of the try data structure from Java to Python. And in this first task, you'll do it without the AI support. And your second task will be converting an implementation of the priority queue data structure from Java to Python. And that one you will do with the AI support. And we will take a break in the middle because since this session is 2 hours. Let me just tell you a little bit more about the code translation task. So the task, what your goal, even though we know 30 minutes is not really enough time to complete it, but your goal to work towards is to produce a complete and working Python translation. And by complete, I mean all the functionality and documentation from the Java code should be translated. And by working, I mean, if possible, you can test the Python code for correctness. And like I keep mentioning, there's too much work to accomplish a perfect translation that can be done in 30 minutes. So I'm just asking you to use as much time as you have. But you know, there are trade-offs in the way you spend your time, such as whether you choose to translate all the functionality first or translate a portion while works. That is completely up to you. And those are some things we're interested in observing. How do people approach these things? So you should do it whatever way is most natural to you. A few other things, let's see. So you're going to be using an online version of VS Code. I'm going to give you a link that's fully configured with files in it and things. It has a few minor differences from the desktop app, but for the most part, all of the menu commands and keystrokes are available and should just work. But if you run into some difficulties, we can try to solve those. I won't be able to answer any technical questions about the code or what it's supposed to do. But one thing I can tell you is that the source, the original Java implementation is correct. When you make the translation, it would make it easier for our work if you try to preserve the naming of class and method names. It doesn't matter as much about variables, but if you preserve those names, it makes it easier for us to see how the translation maps. You can use whatever resources you feel would be helpful, like you know, searching the web or Stack Overflow or running the code, or you know, we have installed the Java, both the Java and the Python editor, so you can run, you know, if you know, get to that point. So that's part of just working the way you would work. Like, you know, most people need to look up a syntax or do, you know, something. So feel free to use whatever resources you would normally use. And I'll give you a 5-minute warning when we're just about near the end of the task so that you know when to start wrapping up. And here's the other thing. As you work on the tasks, to the extent that it's possible, if you could sort of think out loud to say what it is you're doing, thinking and doing, so that we get an idea of what you're, you know, doing and what your questions are. It helps us to understand how you're approaching the task. And if you're quiet, I'm going to go on mute and just take some notes. But if you become too quiet, I might turn on my thing and say, hey, what are you thinking? So that'll just be a prompt to think out loud.
Okay.
Okay, so any questions before we begin?
No, so that's
Excellent.
fine.
Okay, so I'm going to copy a link and I'm going to paste it into the chat. So, okay. And if you open that, it should open an online version of VS Code. And if you could share your screen when you do that.
Okay, here we are. And now it's a bit different. So I have to juggle around one more monitor than usual right now, otherwise you won't be able to see me. And
Right.
Share content, and that's, I think, screen number 2 right now.
Okay. Yes, I see the VS Code, and I see you have two files there. So one is the Java file, and the other is that's where you will put your translation. In Python. So, and there is a way, many people ask if there's a way to display those side by side. And there is.
Yeah,
so
just opening it up both.
I think there's see the icon on the upper right? There you go. Yeah. I think that works the way the desktop does, but I can't quite recall. So, okay, so are you ready to begin?
Yes, I'm ready. Let's see.
So I will start.
This one has some unit tests somewhere, or is that just implementation?
No, the test, there are no unit tests. So if you want to test, you actually have to write that yourself if you have time on however you would do it.
Okay, so I'm ready, and
okay,
I guess I will start. Yeah,
yep.
okay. So first of all, read what this is all about, and okay, we have a class, some inner class, also public, ctor, some boolean find, delete, forwarding to the other one. Enumerate just across sets. Let's see. No. Class. Whoops. 3. Basically has some data structure. Tree node. Let's go and implement it not as a nested class, but as a tree node. Makes a linter a bit more happy in the first place. And we have here question is if you're talking Python, do you want to have classic Python or type enhanced Python? So that's Python 3.8, so we can use types if we want. So that's okay. Oops. Tree node. Nope. Quotes. Okay. So that way, I guess we can root. Yeah. Let's see. Here's a. No, I have to be careful. I made a mistake here. Init, of course. Otherwise, it would be self dot root tree node. Yeah. Okay. Here we go. Let's see. Insert root JSON string. Let's avoid. Root to char array. Compute if absent. Okay, yes, that's hash map. Okay, I guess that's a one. Here we get nice, that's lambda. I think it takes a char. Guess I have to Google a bit for a sad one. So there's a key and a function. Okay. Ah, that's clever. Okay, it looks whether or not we already have this C in there or not. Let's insert. Okay. Or char in root. And children, I guess that we have to implement a bit later. And yeah, the compute absence, that's not going to work out. Get children. Now we have the, let's see, children. Current get children, let's see, the tree node. I guess we have to add a bit more to sets. That's basically init, okay, self children. So that's a map. Okay, not going to type that one. It's going to take me too much time for now. Is word is false. Okay. Def. Okay, so whole get children. Yeah, let's see. Yeah, I'll first of all translate verbatim and later on, because typically getter methods, that's not a thing you use in Python. Rather, but then I'm first of all converting more return so children. Oops. This word. Word. Now Python reflexes are setting in when it comes to naming. Is word. Okay, so basic things, a tree node. Implemented a whole lot of code which more or less will go away almost completely later on. Okay. Current get children compute if absent. That's a character. So we are looking inside the children. For tree. Insert. So here I'm still a bit off track. Maybe if I. Okay. While we are at it. Oops. Used by the tree class to store individual. Okay, so that's. Here. No, not tree Java. Come on. I'm not sure if is something like black installed along the lines here. So code formatter, let's see. Yeah. Why didn't the storage thing? Okay. Oops. Sorry. Okay, so get inward. Let's see. Def find.
Bless you, or I could say Gesundheit is my
Yeah.
replacement.
Oh, yes, that's German. That's great. For C inward. Note current get children and here we do a get C. So that's the same. Yes. And for it. Oh, translated quite verbatim. Delete. Oops. Delete. Then we have Let's see. Word and index. Let's start. So here right now, I want to make sure to use the default parameter capabilities of Python as compared to Windows, so that we only end up with one thing. So, but then we have to start with the word as compared later on. So then we have the parent, which is root. Yeah, elf. Maybe not that way. I guess that's too ugly later on. Let's see. X equals 0. Set Ooh. Turn. Um, mm, right now thinking about, so here we have is empty. Now the len equals 0. That's not the best way to do it, but I guess that's close enough. It's okay. Root X. Get ch. Oops. Oops. Oh, that's a more tricky one. Delete node. Now it's just counting up and not Okay. I'll take it. Yeah. Let's see. Here we have the whole thing again. And top it off with return false. So to be so nice guy. Let's also add maybe I could have been quicker by just copying it over all and then replacing the syntax. But by doing it manually, it gives me a bit more leeway on how the whole thing gets translated. So here we have enumerate. Set auto return a list of strings. Let's see. Auto import should kick in later.
There's about 3.5 minutes left. I forgot to say
Okay.
5 minutes. So.
Okay. So I won't complete it all. That's true.
Yeah, that's normal.
Node. Enumerate. No, let's see. I'm up here. That's this enumerate. Returns a list of string, and now it calls some other enumerate. Okay, then we should rather look here. And that's white. It's getting. Yeah, okay. I see. Okay. I guess for now I stick to the rather verbatim translation. So we have enumerate. Oh, come on. Oops. What happened here? Enumerate. Also, always forgetting self. Enumerate. A string builder. Entries. Okay, I guess that I don't need at all. So we just take the root and the entries. So node entries. So that's a bit odd. So node.
Okay, we're out of time. That was awesome,
Oh,
but we have to stop. Like I said
yeah.
in the beginning, I know it's difficult because it doesn't provide enough time to do the complete thing. But this was great what you did. I learned a lot by watching.
Mm,
So let's see. So now what I'd like to do is share with you a questionnaire that to get your
mm,
feedback on that part of the experience. So I've just pasted another link in the chat. And if you open it in the same place where I can see it, then I can help if you run into
mm.
questions or make any.
Let's see, where is
It can be hard to find that chat window in WebEx sometimes when you're sharing your screen.
yeah,
If you go
yeah,
to the top,
yeah,
it
I got it. I got it. I'm
happens to me all the time because it moves from where it was before.
and it's especially funny if you have right now I have three screens. And
Yes, so
so
you have two things. I know. Okay,
but
so
this would
you are P29. That is your ID. Yeah.
condition no air.
And you did no AI and you were working on the try, right? Yeah. So
Yeah, okay. Demanding. Yeah, it was. How hurried or rushed was the pace of the test? So it's on the half an hour. So that's on the how successful it was, not so much. No, here.
oh yes, the
Yeah,
scale is sort of flipped in this one.
yeah,
Thank you
yeah,
for noticing. It's an error of the survey, but we can't change it now. So it
yeah.
just yeah.
Yeah, because well, failure is not complete, but it didn't complete, so somewhere
Mhm,
around here.
mhm.
How hard did you have work? The level of performance, so yeah, so I had to work on it.
Mhm.
How insecure, discouraged, annoyed were you? No, here.
Okay.
Not really annoyed. So rather curious. I didn't code any tree structure before, so here
Ah,
my curiosity kicked in.
mhm.
So
That's interesting.
if you later on could send me that sample, might be a really nice thing to finish my work.
Oh, you would like to see, oh, you want to be able to finish what you started there.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, okay,
So,
I will ask if they can send that to you. Okay.
yeah,
Mhm.
that's well. I like to code, and so coding katas, I'm
Yeah.
not finding enough time to do them. And
Yes. Yes.
okay, okay, next. Please describe allocated your time. So started to translate Java rather verbatim to Python syntax. Um, oops, what's on? Type the code instead of copy paste. So Mm, exactly. You've understood somewhere between somewhat and a great deal. So only the
And so
one.
it's always like that in surveys. There's never a perfect yes. So
Why?
um,
Okay, so that's this one.
sure, that's
So,
perfect. Hmm. Hmm.
please describe. Mm, mm, getting rid of. So get methods later on will be more in line with Python coding standards.
Mm.
So that will get. But since that's
Mm.
easy later on, let's then reset to understand of what's going on.
Mhm.
You will experience of the task.
Anything at all.
Nice coding, Kata. I liked it.
Oh, good. Okay. Um, okay, that's great. So we've completed the first task, and it would be helpful to me if you can close this survey link and also close the other window that has the editor in it, because I'm going to give you a new editor for the second task. And I will ask if we can send you your package of, they bundle everything into a package. We could probably send you all the source and results so that you can look at it again. I will definitely ask that. I think that's fun. So should we take a 5-minute break right now?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
take a few minutes. So I'm just gonna I'll go off camera and mute, and then I'll come back in 5 minutes, and then if you do the same, we can start the next task.
Sounds
Okay,
fine.
wonderful. Okay, see you
Yeah.
in 5.
See you in 5.
Hello, I'm back.
Yeah, and
Okay.
that's been a solution as well. Just Googled for Python
Ah,
tree, and
yes.
here's
Nice.
the complete implementation.
Yes,
Copy,
that's great.
paste, done.
Very good.
But I
Yes.
guess that's not what you were looking for.
Well, it was great to watch the process that you were going through, how you were thinking about doing it and things. So that was, and also the task is really to do a translation of the way it's being done in Java um, to translate to do kind of that through that method um, in Python rather than just do any try method. And
Pip install try.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the thing. But okay.
Mhm.
So we're ready for task two. Um,
Okay.
Excellent. So in this case, in this task, you will translate the priority queue data structure from Java to Python. And this time you'll have the help of an AI code translation system. So this system is able to automatically translate code from Java to Python, but it's not a perfect system. So the translated code may contain errors. So the source Java doesn't contain errors, but the translation may contain errors. So the system takes a while to run, so we use the system ahead of time to create 5 separate Python translations, which you'll see when you open the editor. So the translator, it tries multiple times and allows you to choose which one that you like, basically. So
Mhm.
how you use these translations to help you complete the task is entirely up to you. Um, and and I'll give you a link now to a configured editor like we had before, and it'll have the right files and things in it. So let me give you that link, and if you open that and share your screen, then we can do sort of like before. So okay, so see there are the 5 files, the ones marked AI that are the translation, and that you've got the source Java there. And that file, the second one there, the priority queue.py, that's where you should put your solution.
Mhm.
So sort of like before, but now you have this additional resource. You have these AI generated translations to review and use however you'd like, and then put your solution in the priority queue.py file. Are you ready to begin?
Yep, I'm ready.
Okay, fantastic.
Let's see. So first of all, RTQ. Okay, some generics. So that's interesting. How the translator will have done it. Typically, not at all. Typing is not a thing in Java, in Python anymore. Okay, some more code. Let's see number one. Okay, array list set insert the X item. Yeah. Oh. Oh. Keep so rather a bad translation. Return none. Pardon. So here we would have one issue. It's not return none, it's return element. At that point. That's a rather odd translation. But then let's see how others. See, I have enough screen real estate. Okay, set translation is a bit better. Number 4. So heap index, heap. P5. We have number 5. Remove is still heap index, heap 0, heap index. So yeah, that's kind of odd with all those differences. So this is really compare. Let's see how those different translations look like. And so basically, let's start with a sad one. But then we have learned already, at least, says return none. That's we need something like return element p5 self heap. Okay, now Oh my.
What are you thinking? What does oh my mean?
I'm just have opened too many different things at once, and
I see.
and now I have to clean up.
Okay.
Having enough screen real estate, that's a good thing. But either way, at one point in time, I will run out. So here right now, my thinking is we have all those different versions. Let's do a big of mix and match between those. They're quite similar. Close all. That's better. That's mine. And let's see where is they differ and which one has errors and which lines. I guess that's right now the strategy I'm looking at. So here we have, okay, set number 5 had, there was a self missing. So that we do have, here we had a return, which was missing in number 5. So that we have remove here. So that was the return element. That was number 1, which had a missing return here, self epify self. Let's see. Set epify self epify index and size. Okay, so that's not. Here is the heapify a self index and the size. So here's self heap. So that's not good. So what I have is better. At least it's matching the signature of index and size. Heap. Let's get back to the Java one. So right now, it's a great number of different translations with different errors. That's really distracting. Let's this way here. They offer a great deal of helps and not having to juggle around the different syntax. On the end, trying to find out what's really matching the original codes. That's, well, not so easy. Okay. I guess I have to stop looking at all those different those are quite similar. Let's take, I have to Q, let's see, number 2 and number 4. I'll take set delta. For most parts. And here we have the Java and the middle part should be mine now. I'm set up. Insert. Self-heap insert heap index, yes, that's correct. Yep, that's fine. Get parent. So both are doing that pop. Parent index, I like that naming better anyway, more Pythonic. Heap insert, parent index. Okay, so they're only different in whether or not the names were changed from camel case to snake case. Return index, but that one here, the return is missing. Okay. Other sounds that they should be fine. See, remove. Here I have some return element. Heap. Pop index, yes, that's cpfi no self heap. See what's cpfi here. That call doesn't match the signatures. That's odd. Okay. Size, that should be easy enough. Here, all are heap. That's not callable. Go away. Peak. Heap. Empty. Pardon. If heap is no, there is no empty method. That's not. So size, that's fine for everyone, but peak. Okay, set implementation is a bit better, but still not good. Come on. Without self heap to return by remove without removing it. Okay. Index self heap. Index. Heap. I guess for now we'll take that one. Give me just the last item. But that's not likely not correct. Let's see. We have 2 and 4 here. I copied number 1, so let's see. number 3. No, that's not looking better either. Yeah. Get 0. Okay. Here, looking at the original Java is better. Okay, empty. So that whole empty was defined here. Self heap empty. That's not defined. It's self empty if at all. Okay. Self heap empty. Pardon, but heap is just a array. This throws me off a bit. Yeah, so that's what I expect. So some of those methods one is used to by Java were added later on in Python 3 sometimes. Something like clear was not there in Python 2, but empty. Pardon, that's throwing me a bit off. Okay, back to here. Return self heap. Make it more obvious by converting it to a bool. Just returning the heap would work likely as well, because every list which is not empty is truthy. Deep copy self heap results. Okay, so that's looking better. Okay, deep copy might be okay here. Self heap empty. That's again. Is there something I missed? Don't think so. Sometimes if I'm totally confused, then I know normally that's within VS Code, but right now
You can run it within the online version if you want to. There's a little play arrow in the upper right,
yeah,
but it's up to you how you want to do it.
yeah,
Entirely up to you.
yeah. Now you have it on screen, so A sets our array list in empty. No,
Sure.
that's
Yeah, yeah. I understand.
not Python.
Yeah.
What do we have with the other ones here? Enumerate. That's empty all over the place. Self remove. Okay, so that's returning the element. Okay, got it. Results append. It's doing a deep copy in results if the whole, yeah, here, I think we are better off in well, no, I won't convert it to an array expression because it would be even more convoluted that way. So it's, let's see here in the if expertise. Oh, there is a blank. Let's see. Priority. Come on. That assumes something about the items we're putting into that heap. In collection. Return collection, okay. Add all. Okay, the original didn't return anything. Was a void. Here all return. Okay, so that's fine. Sounds like heapify. Heap to maintain. Heap properties. If self heap. Now without the empty, finally. If heap, yeah. If size. Here, if size greater than 0. So that's a more of a bottom conversion over there. Left, right index, parent, yep. Self, yep, that's okay. Self heap, reader. Index parent. Okay, get back to where we are, to the originals. Here the translations are just throwing me a bit off. Heap, get, on the index, and here we're doing a pop.
Just letting you know there's 5 minutes left.
Okay. Index of parent. Yeah, that's okay. If left index, smaller left index, pardon, hey, what? Come on. Size. And self heap, left index, create a compare as create parent. Okay, so that's fine. Max index, left index, smaller than size. Create a max. If max index ungleich index that should be fine. Self heap. Here we're setting max index parents, but here it's not left index, it's index. Okay. That's version number 2. Sift up max. Pardon? Nope. Yeah, now I got that one. Okay, let's check. At least I could go from top to bottom, but then calling non-existent methods, that's really throwing me off. And here, I guess a way would be to really have some test code or basically run that code in the first place. Okay, there is no main, no nothing. But at least it didn't barf on some incorrect syntax. Pop.
Okay, that's the end of
Yep.
the 30 minutes. So that was
Okay.
awesome. You're really good at thinking out loud, and that taught me a lot. So thank you. Let's see. So you could close the editor now, so we preserve the files as they are. And I'm going to give you another post-task questionnaire similar to the last one to ask you some questions about this task. So I just pasted it in the chat. Okay, your P29, and this was AI and priority queue.
It was still mentally demanding,
Mm-hmm.
hurried or rushed, well, more or less the same.
Mm-hmm.
A bit more successful. That's,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't test the code at all, so I'm not quite sure, but my feelings are much better about the code.
Mm-hmm.
I had to work a bit less than before because I could copy over
Mm-hmm.
all the stuff, hadn't to type as much. That was a great
Mm-hmm.
annoyed area. You know, so that's somewhere in the middle. So
Mm-hmm.
that's business as usual. What extent do you Java implementation? Somewhat here. I'm more or less concentrated on the translations already without reading so much through the original code. But later on, experiencing all the issues I saw in the translated code, that might have been the better. Yeah, let's put it here. More in the Python translated files,
Mm-hmm.
but given the errors there, I later on resolved more than the original our Swiss. Well,
Okay.
okay. Somewhere acceptable or poor.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Um, do I want to say? No, I'm going down to poor. Why? Um, Mm, 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 maybe go back up to acceptable. Somewhere along.
On second thought.
Yeah,
Mm.
and it's match your expectations. It was worse, so I would have expected better from
Mhm.
something like AI.
Mhm.
Or useful. Errors, I think so. None of those were useful. Somewhat. So used them. Helped you to complete the task? Yeah, that's
Mhm.
true. Helped you understand the original Java code? Nope. Taught you something new about Python? Not really. Made it difficult or easier? So it was easier. That's for sure.
Mhm.
So much.
It's always, yeah, I know it's always
Yeah.
hard. You feel in the between.
Did you made you work this task slower? No, that's faster, but only here, only say +1
Mhm.
because so looking at those different translations.
Mhm.
What do you made you? Did you feel this provided made you work in this task? Okay, so quality would have to read more through everything, so it's still
Mhm.
a bit faster, but not over much. But then the quality is that's okay.
Mhm.
Um, mm, mm, mm. Enough. So 5, I guess that's already too many.
Mhm.
Okay, that's a good question. Could we have provided? Ah, someone is pinging me. Maybe I have to do for generic code. Yeah. Normal working condition. When under time pressure, okay, of course. So here, speeds up. Working alone, code only I would use. No, it's only me, so I have time to. Large team. Here, gas. It's the same. Your main thinking is okay, if we have a translation, then it has hopefully one coding style, and if it's not just me, but a number of people, irrelevant of how many, then having a common coding style, and if it comes from an AI system, we can agree to stick to set coding style, and then you have a more common I have a more common
I see.
way how things are made.
I see.
When working with experimental or prototype code, production code. Prototype code, I guess, more so than production code. So if I try to come to some fast solutions, and having that help speeds things up a bit. But given the number of errors, I have to spend a whole lot of time anyway to move it to production quality. And then, yeah. AI support code translation. Okay. Slightly. Here it might be a good start for then handcrafting the rest. Slightly runtime. Okay, when it's a whole lot of code, then we're talking again. So 1 million, converting 1 million lines of code, that's which I'm unfamiliar. Okay, then that's okay. But then if the translation introduces errors, I have to spot and I have to understand the original in any way, and
I see.
that's a mixed blessing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the code needs to be translated other way around. It depends on here. I would like to add, okay, if there is something like a unit test suite, which I can later on run against the translated code and the original code, and then see, okay, also translate, or if there is not only unit tests, but end-to-end testing, some kind of automated tests.
Mm-hmm.
Then it would move to the more appropriate part, and because even if I'm not able to read the code, if I'm on the other hand able to prove that the code which got generated is correct,
right,
that's helping out a lot.
That makes sense. Thank you.
One problem in
so these questions are about sort of the number of errors.
Okay, yeah, number of errors, I guess that's 10 lines of code, that's still not a thing. If it's a 1 in 100, that's slightly, then we can have a nice diagonal up here.
Yes.
Oh,
you might want to, you mentioned about the unit tests or automated tests. Would that be good to mention here since you said it? Yeah.
okay.
Wonderful. So the good news is that one is done. The bad news is there's one final survey to compare the two experiences. And I really appreciate the effort you're making to do these so well. Thank you. Okay, so I'm pasting. Okay, hold on. Did I get the right one? Yeah. So this is the final survey. Okay, so your P29.
Mm.
Mhm.
Oh, would you decide working with code?
Right.
That's a good one. And here,
yeah,
I
you
can,
can.
I think I can type some more.
Just kind of a brainstorm, like in your dreams. What would you have?
Some kind of links to outside documents like user stories, defects,
Awesome.
design documents and the like.
Mm-hmm.
Not all information.
Mm-hmm.
I for hotspots. So here, what I read,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if the people are familiar, you code as a crime scene. That's actually the title of a book.
I like it.
And I think there is also a second volume I haven't read. It's something like Code X-Ray, something along that line. What's there he's proposing is you okay, so that's analytics on the Git history of code.
I would say sort of like Git forensics or something. Yeah.
Yeah, Git forensics, that's true, because then one gets a whole lot of information out of Git. Who changed it? When it was changed? How
Right.
often did it change within a given time series? And if something changed in module A, almost always something was changed in module B as well. So there is seemingly some coupling
I see.
going on between them. So it's really interesting to read. And basically what he's doing, that's not AI, that's data science. But then there is this small line between data science, so getting the plain data and then later on producing some graphs and then coming from the graphs to some insights. So,
Interesting. Yeah.
okay. I'm software engineer. That's still true. Have you used machine learning? No. Translation. Oh, did I translate? I guess, but that's a long time ago. That was that. No, I think
Yeah.
it's too long ago. I think I translated a few lines of Java once, but that's a thing way in the past. Yeah. Then submit.
Wonderful. You completed everything. Let's say I wanted to just share, since you're curious about all this stuff, I wanted to just share a few things about the study we're doing. Basically, in IBM research, we're working in a kind of AI pillar area where we're exploring a lot of new AI that's coming along, and a bunch of AI models, both at IBM but also outside of IBM, are being developed for code now. So AI is moving into the programming space, and various projects are exploring. And the kinds of models that people are making right now, AI models, they do things like the one that you were using the results of. They can translate code from one language to another. And as you can see, they're imperfect at the moment. So that's why, we're trying to evaluate if they're still useful, even given that. And they can generate documentation. That's another area that people are working on, reading the code and generating documentation. And also kind of almost the opposite, trying to generate code from natural language is another area that people are working in. We specifically have just been working with this model for translating code in our group right now. But there has one thing we noticed is that we're a group that cares a lot about the user interaction and of things, and there hasn't been a lot of work yet to evaluate whether these models are actually useful for software engineers. Like I loved how you called it a mixed blessing, getting the translations. I think that because it had some errors, it helped you in some ways, it made you slowed you down in others. So we're trying to do a study where we actually measure some things about how useful it was across tests. We're one, but we see maybe does it help in some dimensions, like does it speed things up or things like that. And we are also wondering how good do they have to be to get useful, to be useful. So that's the other thing we're evaluating. And we're experimenting with trying to build some tools for VS Code so that it might let you harness this capability, to try out on your own. We're not quite there yet. And some of it involves just using the model itself, but it's coming. Things are coming.
Yeah.
So I just want to thank you very much for participating. I know I'm thinking it's probably in the late end of the workday in your part of the world. So I really appreciate you taking 2 hours to do this. And Justin, the principal investigator on this research, will send you 250 blue points as just a token of our appreciation for spending this time. And I will also ask if we can send you the bundle of code files that you worked on, since you were interested in that.
Yeah. So there's one more thing I wanted to point out.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you're aware, IBM had not exactly code translation. It was more or less an effort done way back, I think in 2005 or so, more or less in understanding code and elevating code again on the model level. So more or less generating UML out of the code and then later on generating the same in a different language out of that UML. And that got to some interesting stages. I think it was driven by GBS back then because they had
they do a lot of modernization work.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
that's where I came from originally,
Oh, right.
GBS.
That's interesting, because that is our motivation, is we're doing this all in a context of considering modernization as the sort of, the larger kind of task area that we'd be exploring these things for.
And that was great. They had, I'm not sure, they had some car rental, and they had more or less the backend was something in Visual Basic, some horrendous amount of Visual Basic, and they ran their analytics, and it came out with, okay, I think 50% of the code was dead code.
Oh, right.
It wasn't called anymore anyway.
Okay.
And for AS400, that's what's that language for AS400?
I don't know, but I can imagine.
And they had at least one great success where they had some, terminal thing translate to that model and then generate some Java with a web UI out of that, and only had to write some thousand lines of code and correct. So it was a bit successful back in that time, but I haven't heard anything.
Yeah, well, maybe I can, but now you've given me a few clues. We can find out whether UML generation is something, if I search at IBM or ask around, maybe. We have for other parts of our project, because we're interested in modernization, interviewed people from GBS, so I could, next time I do that, I could see if I can pick up a lead on that. But I haven't seen that actually. Yeah, so it was nice to meet you. Thank you very much for taking time to help us with
Yeah.
this and for putting your email in case we want to do another one, which is a good sign if you spent 2 hours doing this. I know it's a lot of work, this study, for the participant, and we really appreciate it.
Yeah.
So
Welcome.
thank you. Have a good weekend.
Bye.
Bye.